Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we'll be looking at the 2025 Mazda 3. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Southtown Mazda for giving me some time with this Mazda 3. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check what they have currently. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood we have a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 6-speed automatic. Fuel economy is 27 around town and then 35 on the highway, with power outputs being 191 horsepower and then 186 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the front end of the Mazda 3, I really like how the hood's just flat straight across. It is a lot less busy compared to a lot of the competitors in this segment. And then I love the headlight design here. Really sharp looking overall. You can see the grille's all blacked out. You got the Mazda logo as well. And so yeah, overall, again, in this segment, I think it stands out. Now around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 205 by 60 by 18 in the front and over in the rear. And you can see here with the wheels, you've got the silver there. And it's a nice contrast to the black on this particular car. You've got chrome there around the window trim, which is interesting. And then here's your side view. This is where you can see it's a hatchback. And this leads us to the key fob. We've got the Mazda logo there. We have our lock and unlock function if the camera will focus on it. Oh, there we go. We finally locked out. So yeah, pretty simplistic. And then popping into the back, we've got quite a bit of storage space here in the back of the Mazda 3. You can see the cargo cover built in. Now, being the hatchback version, it helps out with vertical space compared to the sedan. That's one of the biggest benefits. But another benefit, in my opinion, let me close this up, is the design. So you can see how the taillights are integrated here. You've got the exhaust tips there at the bottom. And so yeah, I don't know, I think the hatchback looks pretty sweet. The sedan looks good as well, but just how this kind of like rounds off in the back, I don't know, I like it. Now taking a look at the door panel in the rear, you can see here soft touch trim, and then you got like kind of cloth inserted there and then more soft touch down below. And then here are the seats. Nothing too crazy happening there. Let's squeeze in. So pretty similar to most competitors in terms of spacing in the back seat area. And then headroom with that kind of slope design. It's not bad, but it, you know, it's a little bit tighter, but I do fit. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you can see again with the soft touch here, and it's actually soft touch at the very top as well. Cloth trim and then more soft touch down below. All of our window controls. We've got our mirror adjustments, blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then here's the front seat. So again, you've got some of that cloth trim, manual adjustments on the side, and then soft touch here on the dash. Then down below, you've got stuff like the stability control button, and the steering wheel is manually adjustable. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you can see soft touch all around. You've got practical controls here on the front, including stuff like the adaptive cruise control. You've got volume controls as well. Traditional stocks here on the back too. Now here's a quick look at the gauge cluster. It's got Mazda's triple gauge cluster layout, is what I like to call it, but you can scroll through and see different bits of information on systems within the car. And then when you pop it into sport mode, it'll pop up with a little sport mode icon there at the bottom. So backup camera in reverse, so there's kind of a bit of glare. Just how the screen's located a little bit. But yeah, this is not a touchscreen, so Mazda's all in on the dial life, which I think might benefit them long term, because I imagine the touchscreens not only are expensive to replace, but are probably going to break down the road, whereas something like this is a little bit more simplistic, is going to be more reliable long term. Soft touch all across the dash. And then down below, you guys can see we've got our analog controls here for the climate, just a single zone climate here. And you got all the storage space right there. Shifter for the 6-speed automatic with the drive mode select right next to it. Got your parking brake and your auto hold. And then this is just to control the infotainment system, little volume control right next to it. And then plenty of storage space inside. It's pretty nice. Got USBs and all that. I like the soft touch trim here on the top. And then, yeah, pretty normal glove box. Manual mirror dimmer, and then no sunroof. So here's a quick look at the window sticker for this hatchback. You guys can see all of the standard equipment. And then there's your total MSRP, $26,135. So again, kind of like a base model. Let's see how it drives. Let us set off in the Mazda 3 hatchback, and I'll review more packages on the 25 Mazda 3. Let me know what you guys want to see, but of course we'll always try to get a turbo review because those are always exciting. But yeah, let me know. By the way, visibility here, gotta stop for a second. Yeah, it's pretty good out the back, a little bit more limited, but I mean that's most cars in this segment. You're not gonna have the best rearward visibility. Look at that 911 turbo. That is a fancy car to be sitting at a Mazda dealer. But Mazdas are pretty fancy, right? Especially if you get like a signature edition with one of their cars. But yeah, let's see how this performs. So I will say right off the bat, seats are comfortable. So that's a plus. There's the sedan version, by the way. Like I said, both of them look great. This is one of the few cars where sedan and hatchback, they both look good. Some cars it's like the sedan only looks good or the hatchback only looks good. But yeah, I think both of them. In this case. Pretty smooth. Pretty smooth. Yeah, Mazda uses a 6-speed, which some people are like, oh, it's an old transmission, and you know they've tuned it to where it performs really well. And again, I think a big focus with Mazda is also just reliability. I mean, you see how solid their cars are long term, and so it kind of makes sense as to why they're going for what they're going for with the transmission and all that. Yes, that's good. A lot of cars in this segment will use CVTs. You know, Civic, Corolla, good example. You can get a manual in both of those, but you know, the automatic version is going to be CVT. And I don't know, this is great. It's not fast. I wouldn't call it a rocket ship by any means, but it feels a lot better with the power delivery and acceleration compared to the competition that uses CVTs. It's kind of my 2 cents on that. So yeah, overall it's a nice ride. I just realized that mirror is not helping me out at all with visibility. Keep going on a little bit further here. Yeah, and the suspension comfort on this is pretty good, and you know there's a little bit of road noise, but overall pretty well insulated with the cabin. So I think that's a bit of a plus, if you ask me. And this handles well, and it's got good steering. So one thing about Mazdas is they've got great steering. They're very sharp with the inputs. So it's a plus on that side too. So to sum things up with the Mazda 3 hatchback, again, this is an entry level. This car is great. It's cool that Mazda's still building affordable cars. I feel like I just keep beating this point to death, but manufacturers need to build affordable cars, and so I'm glad that Mazda is one of the few manufacturers that still offers affordable cars, right? A lot of manufacturers are just all in on the expensive stuff because that's what's best for profit margins, right? Something like this that's only $26,000, yeah, there's not going to be a lot of profit in it for Mazda, but there's a lot of people that have a need for this, and I do really believe in the trickle-down effect where someone gets something like this and they have a good experience. Like, you know, if you make a good, affordable, reliable car and give a person a good experience with your brand, then, you know, maybe they'll spend more money in the future when they make more money on higher end product, right? They'll start with a Mazda 3 and then maybe they'll be in a CX-5 and then eventually you know, a CX-70 or 90, and you know, next thing you know, this person that, you know, again, other automakers just see as, you know, not profitable enough to be a customer, you know, long term for your brand could be very profitable because they buy the more expensive stuff because they trust the brand, right? I think building that trust, especially nowadays with iPhone cars, is what I call them. I think building that trust with consumers is the most important thing that a brand can do. But let me know your thoughts on the Mazda 3 hatchback, and yeah, that's all.